Hi there everyone, Greg Marchand here with the Virtual Instructor-Led Training Program brought to you by the Service Sales Academy. In this episode, we're going to talk about establishing technician performance goals. Goals can be magical because they give people something to strive for, and oftentimes just having the goal is enough to grow your business. And it's really important to set goals. See the magic of goal setting for the reason why, okay? Goals are really important no matter what the role of the individual. It gives us purpose. It gives us the knowledge of what we're here to do today or this week or this month or this year. And technician goals, because technicians are production employees, technician goals can really help you make a ton more money. You've got to understand the role of technicians, okay? And that's the individual technician. So every organization should have, every shop should have technicians of differing skill levels. We don't want them all to have the same skills because eventually we'll end up with a whole bunch of A-level technicians that are killing our gross profit because we have to pay them so much. Each technician of a varying skill level should contribute to certain types of work. And before we set goals or sit down and talk to technicians about setting goals, we've got to understand how this particular individual, this individual technician, fits into the overall scheme of our organization and how we make money. Because we have different goal categories. We could have how many hours they produce, all right, our production hours. We could have how many hours of training every year we want them to attend or participate in. Or we have the types of work we want them to do. And I think when you're talking about technician goals, these are the three categories that you should be focused on, because these three categories do two things for you. They produce more money for the organization and they grow the technician. And growing technicians is gonna keep you with valuable employees and less turnover, more employee retention. And the ability to produce more hours more quickly. In terms of production hours, I might say it's the most important goal because that's where the money comes from. It pays you, it pays them, pays the organization. But never lose sight of the fact we have to have production with quality. So usually if I set a production goal with a technician, I have a comeback qualifier in there. Meaning I'm going to pay you this amount of money for your production if you have 0 comebacks. But if you have 1 to 5 comebacks a month, it drops to this. And if you have 5 to 10 comebacks a month, yeah, well, let's not even go there. The production-based goals will have a compounding effect on the system. It will pay everybody more money, and it will create an inertia within the organization that all of a sudden everybody is producing more and more with quality, and our revenue is going up and up and up, and hopefully gross profit as well. If you're going to do this, you got to track production. If you're not tracking production on a regular basis, it's all for naught. It's all for naught. So you got to track production. So if you're not tracking production right now, stop right now. Don't watch the rest of this video. Go watch the production videos and start tracking your production every week. You want to talk about what production levels they're at. If they hit the mark, if they didn't hit the mark, you want them to be aware of the hours that they're producing and the hours everybody else around them is producing. And you want them to feel it if they're not hitting those goals. Everyone who's paid on any part of production should know what everyone is producing each week. Now, customers don't need to know, so don't post this where customers are going to see it. But all your employees should know. Anybody who gets paid on production should know how many hours I produced this week. Why? Because that puts pressure on me to produce. Because if I know that you produced 45 and you produced 65 and I produced 37, I suck. And I want more. Now, maybe I'm full of excuses. Maybe I want to say, yeah, well, you fed him and you gave her that work and I got nothing. I had to do all the diag stuff. Okay, fine. Maybe there's truth in it. Maybe there isn't truth in it. But either way, hey, Greg, I know you did a bunch of diag, and I appreciate it. All right. How about we focus on courtesy inspections this week and see if you can't make up some of that money? Because last week, the courtesy inspections you gave me, quite frankly, there wasn't anything on them. And those cars at 150,000 miles, we probably should have found something. So instead of complaining about 45 and 65 and 37, you got the tools you need. Let's get going. Sometimes you don't even have to have that discussion, right? But you got to track production, and you got to show everybody what the production is like. What do I want to see for production goals? Well, the higher the current production, the lower the increase that you can actually reach for. That's just a fact. I mean, look, if we're already at, per technician, 30 to 40 hours of productivity, of actual hourly production, billable hours, if you want to call it that, then I want to see 5 hours a week increase. It's an hour a day. Look, dude, if you're giving me 40 hours, can you get me another hour a day? Bet you can. If we're already at 40 to 50 hours, I can't ask for another hour a day. Maybe my folks can do it, maybe they can't. Look, oftentimes they can't do it. Can I ask for 2.5 hours a week increase? Can I ask for a half hour a day increase? Yup. Now think about this though. What am I doing with this? If I'm at 30 hours a week on average, and these are averages, if I'm at 30 hours a week on average, and you come to me and say, hey, can you increase your productivity an hour a day? Just an hour a day. I'm not likely to say, no, I can't. I mean, I'm giving you 6 hours now. You're paying me for 8. Maybe you pay me for 6. I should be able to say yes then, right? If I'm at 50 hours a week and you come to me and say, hey, dude, you're awesome, man. You average 50. Do you think you can find another half hour a day? Half hour a day doesn't sound bad to me. Yeah, I could probably do that. You're setting goals that they can reach. All right. Now, what's 5 hours a week gonna represent to you in terms of gross profit? Somewhere around 50%, if you're lucky. So you make another $300 per technician. Cool. Okay, that's growth. I got 4 technicians, $1,200 a week times 50 weeks. Well, heck, I set a production goal of an hour a day, and I grew my business by $120,000 because I just included parts on you. Okay, so set a goal that's reachable depending on your current production hours, but don't be afraid to set a goal, even if your production hours are high already, because I'll bet they can squeeze a little bit more. Watch the Improving Technician Productivity video if you have questions about how they can get that half hour to an hour increase. Okay, but they're reachable goals, they're attainable goals. Might you have to do certain things to get there? Yeah, go check out that video, Improving Technician Productivity. Increased efficiency, improved skill set, more focus on inspections, just plain paying attention sometime to the fact that he got paid 65 hours, she got paid 45 hours, I got paid 37 is enough to get me to grab that extra half hour, or hey, maybe it's 2 hours a day. It's motivation. There's things that can be done. What about training hour goals? I think you should have that. You need to have productivity goals, but I also think you should have training hour goals, because we can't, I want to be formal about this. I want to be intentional, I should say, about this. I don't want to just leave it to, hey, maybe they read motor, maybe they don't read motor. Maybe they want to go to class, maybe they actually go to class, maybe they don't. I don't, maybe they're motivated to do their ASEs even though I'm paying for them. Maybe they're not. I don't want to leave it up to the technician. I want a formal process where we sit down and we say, here are your average hours now. Here are your number of training hours from last year. And I want to set some goals for this year. We want them to grow, because growing skill sets is not just important to the business, it's important to employee satisfaction. We all, as a human, have this need to grow. And so that's where training comes in. Now, there is such a thing as, I call it, training fatigue. Too much training will wear them out. Too little will cost everybody time and money, and may cost you an employee. So we've got to strike a balance. Every employee, no matter what their role is in the organization, should have a yearly training hour goal. What should it look like? Well, let's talk about where it leads first. Training hours lead to new or renewed certifications, ASE. Training hours lead to maybe endorsements, an endorsed service sales professional through Advanced Auto Parts. Training hours and goals increase efficiency, increase productivity. And for technicians, they increase the diagnostic skill. They get faster at diagnosis. You make more money that way. They make more money that way. You can have internal and external training, okay? And it's going to depend on the technician role. Look, a lot of technicians are used to attending training outside the organization. Many service advisors are used to training outside the organization. For some technicians, training within the organization is more appropriate, especially for young technicians. They need a framework. They need some sort of structure to hang outside knowledge on. But until they have that structure, they can sit in a classroom all day long and it may not sink in. Everyone should be taking some sort of online training too. So you're going to have training that goes on within your organization in terms of mentors and online training, and you're going to have training that goes on outside your organization in terms of classes, usually instructor-led classes. What kind of goals should we set? Well, here's my suggestion. I think we should, for those medium to advanced level technicians, call them A and B level technicians if you want to, they should have a minimum of 24 hours of classroom training per year. A minimum. That's what, 6 nights? 6 nights, 6 4-hour nights? That's what they should have a year. Lower level technicians, maybe 12 hours of classroom training per year, plus another 12 hours of mentoring within the shop. And I want the mentoring to kind of coincide. Maybe we know the class they're going to go to, and so the week before the class they're going to, I pair them up with another technician on specific jobs, and I get them a little bit of experience doing those jobs, because when they get to class, they're going to have better questions, and they're going to have a better understanding of how that material affects what they do. So advanced level, A and B level, 24 hours. Lower level, 12 hours outside, 12 hours mentoring. And then everybody should be doing online training, because you can't have too much learning right now. There's so much for them to know, and they can't possibly know it all. Online training sometimes works for technicians, sometimes doesn't. There's some really, really, really good online training right now, especially through CTI. Another 12 hours a year, 1 hour a month of online, and then 24 hours of classroom. That's not too much to ask. 36 hours of professional development per year. That should be easy. What does training goal success look like? Well, success is what you set them up to have. Use training resources that track their training in a learning management system so that you and they know, and you keep track of it. And you can't argue about whether you went to class, didn't go to class, how many hours you had, how many hours you didn't have. Use a professional training program that tracks it in a learning management system. Meet at least twice each year to discuss that training progress. See where they're at. Don't get to September and go, you haven't been to training yet. We got to bang out 24 hours of class. What classes can we get you signed up for? No. No, you want little pieces throughout the year. So, set the goal in January and then meet in June and see if you're halfway there. If not, make accommodations for it. All right. Make training class attendance mandatory. It's a condition of hire. It's a condition of employment. You go. It's not a choice. I'm not asking you if you can go. I'm telling you it's a part of your employment here. Put that in your HR manual. Set that tone, set that expectation, I should say, at the day of hire. Set it during the interview process. Training classes are mandatory. And that means the owner and the manager have to go to these things too. Because if it's important enough for me as a technician to be there, or me the service advisor to be there, and me the receptionist to be there, it's important enough for you to be there. It's important. Everybody goes together. We have, in the Service Sales Academy now, we have technicians coming to our business management and customer satisfaction classes. It has changed what we do and how we do it. It's awesome. Shops are really, really happy about it, because now all of a sudden your entire organization gets to work on your shop in class. And we make it fun, we make it productive, things change, everybody likes coming to class. But it's a culture thing. It's a culture, it's an expectation. And then there's the types of work goals, because sometimes training is not enough, productivity is not enough. I need to learn a new skill set. Younger technicians, maybe new hire technicians that are 18, 19 years old or 24 years old, need to build certain skill sets. And so again, we use this mentoring in conjunction with the outside training. So set what classes you want them to go to, that 12 hours of external training, and then make sure they spend an equal 12 hours internal with a shop foreman, a diagnostic specialist, some technician that knows that skill, the alignment technician, the technician that does most of the alignments. It will give them that framework, that structure to hang the outside knowledge on. It will create some bonds within the shop, and it will allow them to learn a lot faster, because they'll start to see that this is what I need to learn to do. This is how this person does it, and then that person outside in that instructor-led class talk to me about doing it this way, and they start to put it all together, and then you start to feed them a little bit, and they'll begin to grow. So you want when you sit down and set goals, you set those productivity goals, half-hour day increase, hour day increase. You set the training hour goal. Here's where you were last year. Here's where you're going to go. Here's what ASEs you want. Here's how many hours that we need to get you, and these are the types of classes that I want you to attend, because this is the type of work goal for the end of this year. By the end of this year, you're going to be an alignment rock star. By the end of this year, you're going to be able to do a moderate amount of electrical diagnosis. So we're going to focus on that in the next 12 months. All right, or maybe it's scan tool use, or maybe it's diesel emissions, or whatever it might be. All right, but be specific and set goals with actual targets that you can track. Examples of work, maybe it's, I need you to do more brakes. You've been doing all oil changes. I want you to start doing some undercar stuff. The electrical diag I mentioned, the check engine light diag, accessory install type work. This is for technicians. Service advisors can have something similar, right? We'll save that for another program. But these are the types of production goals for technicians that are going to grow your business, make them more productive, make you more money, and allow you to bring more work into the shop. Maybe it's, okay, look, we're gonna have you work with Johnny Q Technician for a week. We're gonna send you to that entry-level brakes class, and then I'm gonna feed you one brake job a week. I want you to find one brake job a week on a courtesy inspection, and do it for diag jobs or accessory install, whatever it might be. The goals are intended to grow the individual into the type of work without interfering or taking them away from whatever their primary role today is. So in other words, I hire an entry-level lube technician, and they're doing oil changes and maybe tire rotations for 12 months, and I see that, hey, they show up every day. They're a good kid, and they got some potential. I need them to begin to grow, but I don't have another lube tech. So I don't want to make these goals too crazy. I don't want them doing a brake job a day. I don't want them doing, whatever it might be that's going to take them away from my oil change business, because I need them to do that, but I'm showing them that we're going to grow them into something else, and that there's a light at the end of that tunnel. All right, and if you're intentional about this, it will work really, really well. Does it work with everybody? No. Some people they can't be patient enough. You know what? You told me I was going to be doing brake jobs after 12 months, and I'm not, and I'm out of here. Okay, fine. But if you're intentional and you show them a light, and you have these conversations with the goals, and you set goals, and you check in, and you track, they'll stick around and they'll grow. I promise you that. Different performance goals are intended to fit different organizational needs. All right, so not everybody's goals are going to be the same. Some of these goals make everyone more money. Some of them grow the individual as an employee or into a skill set. Some begin to fill a future role that they don't even know they're going to fill, but we can see the potential there. But the more performance goals you have, and the more communication you have around those performance goals, and the more organized you are, the more you're going to move forward as an organization, and business is going to get easier. Okay? So check out the video. If you have any questions, feel free to call, text, email me. And until next time, keep up the great work and never stop learning.